We want to take a look at that 7.8 magnitude quake that has decimated Nepal. What makes this part of the world particularly vulnerable to earthquakes? Here to walk us through the science is physicist and host for the Science Channel, Deborah. Berebichez, what a pleasure to have you here. I'm so sorry it's under these circumstances. 7.8. Boy, that is chilling. How significant is that in this area compared to other earthquakes they've seen?
That's a good question. So earthquakes are measured by the amount of energy they release.
Yes.
And so the scale, for example, if you go from a 7 magnitude earthquake to an 8, that's a factor of 32 times more energy. And in this case, if you compare it to the Haiti earthquake, which was a magnitude 7 or about, and this is an 8, if you were to increase it by 2, let's say from 7 to 9, that would be about 1,000 times more energy released. And with the kind of terrain and the building codes not being up to par in that area of the world, the devastation.
Looking at the map too, we know that subsequently all of these aftershocks have been particularly devastating as well. Are you anticipating more?
Correct, yes. Invariably, we always have the earth and the tectonic plates adjusting after a major quake.
And then on top of that, let's talk about what this area, the depth was quite shallow.
Correct.
About 7 to 9 kilometers.
About 7 miles.
7 miles.
Deep.
And the terrain plays a part in that as well. What is the terrain like there?
Correct. So it's not only the terrain, so that you have the Indian tectonic plate sort of pushing upwards to the northeast on the Eurasia plate, tectonic plate. And as it's pushing, it actually causes the Himalayas mountains to go up.
And that's what actually forms the Himalayas.
Correct, which is interesting. At the same time, this fracture, as the two plates are thrusting against each other, and they move about 45 millimeters every year. So they're constantly pushing on each other. But at one point, and this happens in that region about every 75 years or so, the thrust is so hard that the Indian plates sort of push too much and the energy gets released.
And what is so insane is they're saying that it essentially moved the city of Kathmandu by something like 10 miles.
Oh, you mean off its
Yes.
Correct.
That's
yes.
insane.
It's incredible.
10 feet. My goodness, I said 10 miles. My goodness. Pardon me for that egregious mistake. But here's the other thing that you were talking to me about this particular region. The area where this fault line is.
Yes.
You say this is particularly problematic because of?
There's a highway that's built very near the fault line, so where people tend to live is near that fault line.
Thus the high casualty rate.
Correct. And also we have to understand that in physics